Sunday evening, December 29th. Special guest in the studio today, Mr. John Thompson, former Pomona Panther, Ramapo Griffin, coach, father, and soon to be inducted into the Rockland County Hall of Fame with the entire 96, 97 basketball squad. It's been a while since me and John last spoke. It was at a high school reunion about 12 years ago. I mean, time sure flies. John, thanks for joining us tonight. How are you?
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me, brother. Excellent, excellent. Doing well.
Appreciate it.
How are you?
Good, man. Doing good in New York. I mean, I know you don't miss it, man. It's that snowy season. I know you don't miss shoveling snow.
No, sir. No sita. Down here, palm trees and the beach.
Palm trees and the beach, living the good life, man. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. So, John, real quick, how tall are you, man? Because it seemed like you were way taller than every single person back in our day in the 90s. How tall are you?
I'm 6'5".
Always 6'5".
Yeah, I haven't grown much. Maybe it's around 6'4" in high school.
6'4" in high school, now 6'5".
Yes, sir.
Last time you dunked a basketball.
Yeah, not that long ago.
You
Maybe
still
like 3 months.
you still got it?
Yeah, anytime. Pull up.
How far can you throw a football now?
That one, yeah, you can have maybe 30, 40 yards, if that.
Did you like throw like bombs over Baghdad back in the day? Rampo Pomona back in the day, 80 yards?
I don't know about 80, maybe 60 to Perry.
60 to Perry down the sidelines, huh?
Oh yeah, the track star.
The track star that he was. You ever play a one-on-one versus Jalen? One-on-one, who wins? Jalen one-on-one.
Last time I played him 101, I want to say he was 16 and he beat me. That's the last time we played.
He beat you straight up.
Yep.
Were you trying really hard?
Yeah. Oh yeah. But he's 6'10", 240. I'm
He was
6'5", 190.
he was swatting everything, huh?
Nah, I don't know about that. But it's hard to stop him, body size.
Right.
And then he has a jumper. So if you don't respect that, he's going to shoot the three on you. So
Fair
it's
enough.
tough.
You ever tell him how great you were back in the 90s? Like all these stories, like I was this, I was that. Like you ever tell him like he appreciates that stuff?
Fortunately, I didn't have to because I lived near a lot of people that went to Ramapo and they told him. So
How great his dad was, right?
pretty cool.
What if social media existed back then, man? Back in the 90s? What if?
I'm glad it didn't.
Man, there was some stuff on there, man. To this day, you're just like, yeah, I'm just happy, just roll with the times, and it just never
Yeah,
keep it what it was, and that was it. Keep it moving.
yeah. As cool as it is, it's also very dangerous, for some of these kids in middle school, high school, dealing with a lot of things they have to deal with social media right now. So I'm glad we didn't have to deal with that.
For sure. Your daughter's huge into flag football, right? We spoke a little bit. I mean, hopes and dreams for the Olympics 2028, LA. What would that mean for her and for you?
Oh, amazing. Yeah, I watched her play since she was 9. She's 17 now. And I've got to travel with her. I've got to coach her. And just to see what flag football has come to this day is amazing. I've seen some amazing girls out there.
Yeah, for sure. I wish her the best, man.
Thank you.
Definitely keep me posted on that, man, for
Oh,
sure.
yeah.
So growing up, you had some nicknames, right? We all had nicknames, right? You had the name Boog. I mean, who came up with that? How do you even get that name?
Had to be my man Omar
Omar
Morales.
Morales. Shout out to
Yeah, yeah,
Omar.
yeah. Yeah, Odie.
So he named you that, like just out of the blue. He just picked that name. It was just a random thing.
Well, something we used to do people didn't know. Throughout high school, we would go to courts all throughout Rockland to go play the best of the best, whoever you are, wherever you are. And he came up with the name Boogie. So Boogie turned into Boog.
And all these years, 30 years, I'm like, how did you get this name? Where did it come from? The origin, Omar Morales. Shout out to him. And there were some other good nicknames as well, right? Football, basketball. There was like what Rocco Haas, Chucho, Slim, Dot, all unique in their special way, right?
Oh yeah, yes sir.
Jeez, man, it's crazy. So now you play football and basketball, right? I mean, you look up to any players back in the day like Bo and Dion, and now we see Travis Hunter, two sport guys. Any inspiration from those guys?
Of course, Bo Jackson, Deion Sanders, Michael Jordan. Well, Jordan didn't play. Well, Jordan did play baseball also. So,
He did. He did.
but it's just a way of growing up. You know how we do playing anything in the streets. So by the time you get to an organized level, it feels natural.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's a lot of props to him, Travis Hunter as well. Now they're saying he may be going towards the defensive side, maybe offensive side. He's got to bulk up a little bit, right? What kind of advice would you give him?
Um, yeah, well, obviously bulk up, but yeah, he's just a natural raw talent. So definitely for defense, his instincts on defense surpasses his offensive skills,
Right, for
and
sure.
any coach will see that.
Definitely a top 5 pick, right? In this draft, Heisman winner,
Number one,
#1 overall.
yeah,
Over Shador Sanders.
absolutely,
All right.
absolutely.
Bold pick by John right there. Okay, we'll take
And you
that.
got to save Sador for the second and third pick so the Giants could pick him up.
Or Cam Ward, right? I mean,
Yeah, but I think politics should go over Cam.
with the Giants, yeah, the Giants, typical Giants. Let's hopefully they make the right pick, though. Let's hope they make the right pick, and they did win today, so
Yeah.
we'll see, interesting off season. So now, being that you played both sports, who trained you in both sports growing up? Who was your mentor?
There was no training. I mean, we were raw off the street, and pretty much I played basketball. I didn't start really getting serious about basketball until I was maybe 12. Yeah,
12
around
years
12.
old,
But football started at 6 years old.
6 years
Yeah,
old.
yeah.
Just grew from there. Your experiences over the summer, right? Wasn't like a typical seventh, eighth, and ninth grade summer, right? Like hanging out and you're just doing stuff, hanging out with friends and great adventure and yada yada yada. What was your summers like?
From ninth grade on was straight basketball all summer. So my life was pretty much football in the fall. As
Hmm.
soon as football is over, we transition straight into basketball. After the basketball season, which usually ends around February, March, straight into travel basketball at Riverside Church in Harlem. And that was throughout the summer. After that was done, right back into football.
There was no rest period for you at all, right? Summers
No.
were like it wasn't a normal summer at all.
So anytime I found a chance to go have some fun, I definitely did. But it was definitely sports first.
Wow. Which sport you prefer though? Is it football? Is there a preference? Football, basketball?
My first love was football, you know.
Man,
So definitely from 6 years old, that love couldn't had never be replaced. But basketball, we definitely got more serious around at 12 years old playing Hoop Street and
mhm.
being able to starting to travel and get to see the other competition. But you can go play basketball anywhere. You can't go put a helmet on and some pads and just think you're gonna go play football.
Yeah, you could play basketball anywhere.
Yeah.
At the communities, overseas, anywhere.
In
Easy,
your
easy.
driveway.
In your driveway too. Yeah, there you go. So at 6'5", you played quarterback, right? Could you play wide receiver, or you just quarterback was the thing for you that's where you wanted to play?
Yes. I think I played a lot of positions, mostly wide receiver, tight end, some few positions on defense, but ninth grade was a transition to quarterback.
So
So
7 and 8 was like, let's see what you kind of prefer, that kind of thing, and then ninth grade was like, boom, this is what it is. We're gonna stick with
yeah.
this.
Well, I was at Chestnut Ridge and I was playing wide receiver and they had a play, it was a double pass to Bernard LaForest. So that play almost always was a touchdown. That was a bomb that I would throw to him. And Patton Perry had asked me if I wanted to come over to Pomona and play quarterback. So Coach Vatola let me come over, and then the rest was history.
So you knew those guys before Pomona days, Pat and Perry, those
Oh
guys.
yeah, I've known them since Pop Warner football.
Jeez, that's
Yeah,
way
we
back
all
in the
know.
day.
Oh yeah.
Wow. So take me back to those Panther days, because I never like heard like a guy you had to beat out for a starting job, right? It was always John, JT. Like you had to beat somebody out when you got there, like to play quarterback. Was there somebody in your path? Like you got to beat this guy. I got to win this job.
No, for Pomona, they asked me to come to the school to play quarterback. So I already knew I was stepping into it, but it was also my first time playing quarterback. Like seriously, this is it. And
Really?
yeah,
So you got recruited. They recruited you to come play quarterback, Pomona.
yeah, pretty much.
That's crazy because I'm all my life. I'm like, who did he beat out? Like, it's got to be somebody that was there starting before him, and then he had to beat somebody out, trials or whatever the case may be. But it was right in there. Boom. That was it.
Oh yeah. I did have to play for that quarterback position in Ramapo though, which was Maurice. Maurice was the starting. Well, he should have been the starting quarterback. I just had a hell of a green and gold game, and yeah, I was surprised when they named me the starting quarterback.
Wow, you beat me to one of my questions I had before. Going back to Pomona, you guys were undefeated, right? 92, 93. What made you guys so good in that year?
It was the chemistry, honestly, man. Just that whole crew. I'm still friends with so many of those guys to this day. We had a great chemistry. It was I don't really remember any fighting on the team or anything. So it was just the practices were hard. The way Vitola coaches, and like they say, the practice should be harder than the game.
Right, correct. I've heard that many times.
And that's how we approached it. So when we saw other teams, that was the easiest football season I've ever had in my life. But it was just because of the talent.
How was Coach Vitola? Was he like really tough on you guys, like hard on you guys, practice?
Absolutely.
It was a grind.
If you ask anybody about Vitola, he's on a whole nother level of coaching.
Was he a screamer, yeller, get in your face? Because back in the day, we grew up on the old school days. You can't do that stuff now, right? You get in some serious trouble. But back then, you can see exactly how you really feel.
Oh, he'll grab you by your face mask, pull you down, because he's so short. So he had to pull you by your face mask to bring you down to his level. But yeah, he was tough, man. But he loved us to death, man. We loved him. So it was the chemistry between coaches and the players. It was just a magical year that year.
Who was the hardest hitter on that team? Who hit the hardest on that team?
It would have to be between Chucho and Perry.
Chucho and Perry, huh? I could see Chucho, man. Was he a linebacker back in the day?
Always. Chucho was big when we were playing Pop Warner at 12 years old. Like kids feared him at 12 years old.
It's a grown man, right?
Yeah.
Jesus, Chucho. Shout out to Chucho, man. Ruben, by the way, if you're listening. Toughest opponent for the Panthers was who back in the day?
Honestly, I think the closest game was Spring Valley Junior High. The last game of the year was 21-6. Not to say it was the toughest, but that was the closest game. It was definitely it was intense. It was in the rain. It was cold. It was intense.
You guys, like Spring Valley versus us Panthers, you guys seem like they hate each other. It was like bad blood. You guys really hated each other back then, because that kind of hate, like sports hate each other back then?
On the field or on the court, yes. But we all grew up together. We all know each other. So in the streets, we all cool. But when it's time,
time to get down to the
there are no friends. There's no friends on the field or on the court.
What do you make of handshakes these days? You see a lot of handshakes, guys dapping each other up before and after the game. You kind of fan of that stuff, or you're like, nah, man, I like my old school stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I was cool with a lot of players, but before the game, like I said, there's no friends. After the game, it's all cool, but before the game, you about to get the business.
What was getting hit felt like? What was that getting felt like when you get hit? What does that feel like next day?
Honestly, the last time I got hit, like really hit, was scrimmage. It was our first scrimmage. I think it was against White Plains at Pomona, and I never got touched again that year.
Really? So you hated getting hit. You're like, I'm never gonna get hit again. Oh, okay.
That was Vitola yelling at the line.
Oh, not to let John get it hit. Protect John at all costs, man. He can't get hit.
And I'm lying. Hold on. Let's go to Ramapo.
Okay.
So, sophomore quarterback scrimmage. I think the coach might have told them to let me get hit, see what I'm made of, because I got destroyed that scrimmage also. But during the games, never got touched too much.
Who picked you up when you got hit? Who picked you up?
Who knows? Everybody. Hopefully everybody.
I mean, you're the quarterback, man. We got to protect you at all costs, right?
Yeah, it's probably the Pat and Perry. We're always right next to each other during the games.
Now, you told me a story off air. You never got Pat and Perry confused, right? How is that even possible?
They don't look the same to me. They never have. Personalities are different. They walk different. They laugh different. So, like I said, there's some of their family members that tell you at a point that I was the only one that could tell them apart.
Give me a play call in the huddle. I mean, you guys had some crazy. Was the playbook? How complicated was the playbook back then? Was it complicated? Was it hard studying the playbook? You got it right away. How tough was that learning that playbook?
You had the armbands. So
Okay, so you armed it
yeah.
up. Okay, okay.
So while you're in practice, and Pomona was pretty basic. Like we ran almost the same, probably 7 to 8 plays, but like a 42 ISO to Pat.
Right.
It was almost a touchdown every time, straight up the middle.
Every single time. He was the biggest
Every-
guy.
Yeah,
I mean, I was watching that video you sent me, and I'm looking at, was he 34? 34, right?
yeah. Perry's 33, Pat's
And it
34.
seemed like he liked getting hit. Like he was
Yeah.
dragging dudes and suffering.
Oh yeah.
I'm standing back like, how is this? This is like a grown man playing with little guys. Like, this is crazy.
And you got to think they've been doing that since Pop Warner.
It's unbelievable, man. I'm like, this can't be real. I rewinded like 3 times. I'm like, no, this is not happening. He was dragging dudes like 4, 5, 6 yards down. I'm like, how is this even possible? And it was cool. Like, you guys didn't have the names on the back of the jerseys like the Yankees, right? Where you guys like all the
Yeah.
team was that a camaraderie thing?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
that was just like
Just
you guys.
Pomona on the back.
That's all that mattered, right?
Oh yeah. And then I don't know if you noticed, but the year before we went undefeated, the team before us went undefeated, unscored upon.
Really? Like no points allowed.
Yeah.
I mean, how good was Pat and Perry back in the day, though, John? I mean, these guys were special dudes, right? Like, must be great having those guys on your team, right?
To this day, man, just great people. Just from day one that we met, we've been tight, still tight to this day.
I was looking at some stuff last night, some YouTube stuff, and I'm trying to like come up with some play calls for you, right? So I got hop to gun, blue king, trips right, tier 52 sway, all go special, X shallow cross wide. Like what kind of jargon is that, man? Like, how do we even read that? Like, is that even a thing?
I'm sure it is. Our plays weren't that complex. We have 46 power flood, 25 counter, like simple old school plays.
Just ran it down your mouth. That was it, man. Just get out of our way.
Oh yeah.
What was the longest pass to Pomona? Who was that pass to? The longest pass to whom?
Probably to Perry.
Perry.
I want to say it was like a first play. I think who were we playing that? It was a team from Westchester, but I know I threw him a bomb and he dropped it. It was the first play of the game.
Dropped it.
Right, yeah, he dropped it. So we never ran this play to the other side. So this is why I used to get in trouble, because the coach called a totally different play, and I said, "Yo, we're gonna run the same play. We're gonna run it to the other side."
Really?
So we run the play, and he scored a touchdown, because I had faith that he would catch the next one, and of course I still got screamed on, even though it was a touchdown.
Even though it was a touchdown. So you flipped the play. The first play he dropped it. You flipped it. Instead of going right, you went left. Call his number again. Bombs over Baghdad. Touchdown.
Oh yeah.
And the coach, of course, let you.
I used to change a lot of plays, and I get in trouble. But hey, Lord,
but at the end of the season, you won. It's all that matters, right? You won.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Where is that Pomona Panther jacket now? You still have that jacket somewhere in the man cave, framed up somewhere?
I've moved so much over these past 30 years. It's with the trophies, everything, man. Like I lost a lot of stuff.
So wait a minute. My next question was memorabilia. You got nothing laying around? A trophy?
No, I do.
Glove?
I have mostly paper clippings, but I have plaques. Like the plaques are able, but what year was that? I don't remember the year, like 2003, Hurricane Charlie in Orlando.
Oh,
like I had damage to the house that I was living in, and I lost a lot of stuff, clothes, like everything, a lot of stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
I used to have my old book bag, JanSport book bag, my Tim's. I have a bad habit of like keeping stuff. My mom was yelling at me all the time. Yeah, you gotta throw that out, get rid of that stuff. I got a habit to holding on to things, man. I don't know what it is, man. Like my pager, I was telling you, my beeper. I still got my beeper.
Yeah, man. I need a beeper right now. I'm getting rid of the cell phone.
Jeez, man. So memorabilia. So you kept the plaque. At least you kept the plaques, right? I'm not mad at that. You kept the plaques.
I think I still have my jacket though at my brother's place up in New York for the section champs.
Okay, that's fair.
For Ramapo, yeah.
Okay, maybe they should put that in the Ramapo, high school cage, like frame it up somewhere. Maybe we should donate that thing over there, John.
I still have my basketball. I have the basketball from scoring 1,000 points. They could take that and put that in there.
Oh, you still have that personally? You still have that?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
All right. Maybe you come down to the Hall of Fame. You bring some hardware there, and show it off a little bit, for these kids to see now in the hallways. Fondest moment at Pomona Junior High. What kind of moments you had back then? Fondest moment.
It sounds weird saying it, but Pomona was like our senior year. Like I tell people it is because a lot of schools, especially here in Florida, schools are 6th, 7th, and 8th grade for middle school. And
Right,
then
right, right.
ninth through 12th. I think it's like that now up in New York. But I enjoyed that 9th grade year. You know, like, yeah, the connection between all of us was just, it was crazy, man. We had such a good time.
Favorite teacher back in Pomona?
Mr. Darden, yo.
Mr. Darden.
Yeah, you
Wow.
remember Mr. Darden?
Mr. Darden. Wow. Because I wrote down here Mr. Lucas was cool. Gargiulo was cool. Miss McCabe was cool. So Mr. Darden. Shout out to Mr. Darden,
Yeah.
man. May he rest in peace, right?
Oh yeah, and Miss Crabtree, if you remember her.
The name
English teacher.
the name sounds familiar. If I see a
Yeah.
picture of her, I might know who she was. Any least favorite teachers? Who you got? Any least favorite teachers or nah? They were all the same.
Nah, I forgot about them already.
What a couple things you got away with, man. Like, so you're a quarterback of the team, right? Everybody knows JT, John Thompson. He could do no wrong. What kind of certain things you got away with back in high school, man? Don't tell me you had hall passes, right? You had no hall passes.
No hall pass. Walking through the hallway. I don't know if you remember this, man. Walking through the hallway with a radio.
Yeah, the little
Like, and I'll never forget. I think class everyone's already in class. I'm still walking around. Mr. Goldmere comes around the corner and we kind of like bump. And he gives me this look. And I said, don't worry, I'm going to class right now, man. But that was like that Ferris Bueller relationship I had with him.
Goldmere, Mr. Goldmere, correct. Yes. Man, so he walked around with a radio just bopping. That's incredible, man. So big summer, right? Summertime decision comes up, right? We're talking about this a week ago off the air. So going to Ramapo or St. Joe's, right? Sort of like the NIL back then. I never heard that story before. Just enlighten the audience about that story because you had an option, right? That could have changed a lot, right?
Oh yeah. So
but you went one way instead of going the other way. What made you make that decision?
Honestly, if my parents really knew what was going on, they would have forced me to go to St. Joe's. So by them not being educated on what was going on and the coaches not reaching out to them, just kind of giving me the option. So during our games, St. Joe's coaches would come to our games, and they also invited us to go to their games. We would go stand on the sidelines at St. Joseph's games. And we had a decision to make. So Pat Perry and I, we all decided that we wanted to go change the game in Ramapo, change the culture, and hopefully bring this Pomona team up there and
little swagger.
And do the same thing. And it was a horrible choice, but it was also a great choice because I wouldn't change the times and the fun that we've had in Ramapo and all the friends that I'm still friends with to this day.
He's John Thompson, former Pomona Panther, Ramapo Griffin, coach, father, and soon to be inducted in the Rockland County Hall of Fame with the entire 96-97 basketball squad. So now big transition, right? Like went from being this guy, Pomona, and now you're in the football team now, right? So big transition. Was it JV right away? Was it varsity right away? Like, what was that like?
Fortunately, I was able to start playing varsity for Ramapo in 9th grade when I was in Pomona.
Really?
Yeah.
Geez, so you had a leg up on these guys already. Like everybody knew who you were already before you even got to the big dance.
Oh yeah.
So when you got there now it's QB. So Mo James is there, right? Starting quarterback.
Yes, sir.
You're like, okay, this is something different. I gotta work for this.
And Maurice has been my quarterback since Pop Warner because I played tight end. So
really, he was your quarterback. So now you're coming for his spot. You want to take his title,
and honestly,
position now.
I didn't even think I thought I would, maybe be second string and play some wide receiver. But when they announced that I had the spot, I was like, whoa.
Was there animosity towards getting that position right away?
Of course. I mean, like all of us knowing each other, we all know each other from the streets, from the hood, and so it's just like but Mo ended up being a wide receiver, and of course, I threw the ball to him as much as I could. So it's just just switch positions, kind of.
You talked about it a little bit, like, yo, man, I got the job, I got the spot, man. Like, it is what it is.
Nah, I was just shocked, honestly, and for me, it was just go and learn because this is only my second year playing quarterback.
Correct. Ninth grade and now
So
10th grade. Yep.
yeah, now I have a quarterback coach. So now it's not my head coach that's teaching. So it was intense. It was intense training.
So now you got voted. You got voted captain, right? Captain. So who voted you captain? Was that like a all the guys huddled around, the coaches and everybody huddled around, and you got voted captain? How did that work?
That usually comes from just character and practice, man. Like people see everything that you do in practice. So if you're taking, plays off and you think you're gonna turn it on in a game, like anybody that knows me for anytime we practice, I'm coming at you hard. So
Did you want that captaincy? Because some guys shy away from that stuff. Some guys don't want that responsibility. They want to be the guy. They want to play. They want to be a good sport. But captaincy, like, that's not for me. You wanted to be captain?
no, I just wanted to play. I don't really care for titles and all of that, So it's just like get me on the court, get me on the field, let me go. That's all I ask.
Show you the whole team exactly what you can do. Who was the hardest hitter back now in Ramapo now? No, from Pomona was Ruben. Now you got a Ramapo. There was some big boys on that team, man.
Meg
James, brother of Mo, right? Brother of Mo. I'm telling you, these James guys, man, like you can't get, it's like pick your poison, right? He was a big son. He was a big, you know what, man.
You talking about somebody to get you hype before a game? Meg was that guy.
He had the speeches, the rah-rah speeches. He was the guy with the rah-rah speeches.
Yes, sir.
Everybody huddle up like one of those like Drew Brees speeches, like fired everybody up, ready to run through a wall for this guy.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Meg was that dude.
I remember him a little vaguely in high school. He looked like a Mike Allstott walking around, man. He had the big big shoulder pads. He's coming around with the helmet in his hands. I'm like, this guy's a scary dude, man.
Yeah, Meg's a big dude, and he had that passion, man. That's what I love. Like when you play in a sport, you have those quiet assassins,
right?
I like those loud people that could get you hyped before a game.
Did he back it up on the field also too? Cause you can be loud and you can be like, yeah, he's
all the time.
He backed it up every single time.
Play with passion, man.
Unbelievable. Who was the meanest guy on the team? Like just mean, nasty. Like he was just mean. Like you would hate him if you played against him, but on your team, you like him on your team.
It would have to be Meg. At that young time, it was definitely Meg, Meg was it.
Who was the most underrated guy? Like this guy was damn good, but he just never got really the credit he really truly deserved, but he was damn good.
It was good. Phil Malascalco. I'm probably gonna say his last name right.
Right.
But I tell you, he's a tight end my junior year. Because I know Dwayne was a tight end my sophomore year, and Phil was a beast. Like he was catching everything across the middle. He had a good amount of touchdowns. So yeah, he was one of those quiet leaders. He was just quiet, but he came in and did his job,
did his thing, and that was it. That was it. Biggest prankster on the team, like always playing a joke, socks missing, uniforms upside down, like just a prankster altogether.
I'm just going to give that to the whole 244 crew.
The 244 crew?
Because, that sophomore year, we went up to, I want to say it was like Goshen. We went upstate to it was a soccer camp / gymnastics camp, and we turned it into a football camp. And we got in some serious trouble up there, man. Yeah, they had us running at like 12 midnight, running around soccer fields doing laps. It was crazy.
Jeez. What kind of drills you hated most, man? Like just hated doing these drills. But it was good for you. Obviously, you hated stuff, but in the end, it was good for you.
Crab walks up hills, or the snake drill when you got to run the lines of the football field.
You hated those, right?
Man. At the end of practice, yes.
Were you always the first guy to be there, the first guy to leave, first guy in, last guy out? Were you always that guy?
Yeah, pretty much.
That's fair.
And it wasn't always working out or something, just the last one on the field talking to somebody or
hanging out, shooting the breeze.
And being the first one is just being excited to be out there. So absolutely.
Take me on game day. What did that feel like, John? Like the crowd, the atmosphere, the grass, the smell of the grass, just like hype. How hype were you for like games? Were you like hype? Couldn't sleep the day before? How hype were you before games?
Every game hype. Definitely more for football than basketball, but you hear a lot about people talk about anxiety these days, and I'm
Right.
like,
Yeah.
go throw on some pads and a helmet, and you'll feel what anxiety is, man. Especially when you're playing against a team that you know is like a North Rockland or playing against Spring Valley, a rival school. Like you can't explain to anyone how that feeling is.
Right.
You know,
Just
like
being out
it's
there.
yeah, the adrenaline rush is insane.
How long were the quarters, by the way? With 10 minutes, 12 minutes, quarters?
I I think at that time it's like 8 minutes.
8 minutes.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
about eight.
8 minutes.
Yeah.
Who was the biggest rivalry for the Griffins back in the day, back in our heyday?
Always Spring Valley, but you have that same kind of feel when you play against North Rockland.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
It meant some games just feel more, mean more, right? You just give it your all. Like you just like you know what kind of game this is gonna be when you once you get there, when you
oh yeah.
arrive.
But then again, when you're playing in Rockland, whether you're Spring Valley or Ramapo, you're known as the black team in the county. So all those other
Mm.
teams are coming for you anyway.
They're just gunning for you no matter what. It could be the
Absolutely.
weakest team, the so-so team, whatever, middle of the pack team. You're gonna get the opponent's best every single time out, right? They were
Oh
coming for
yeah.
you guys. Who was the longest throw back in the day, back in the Griffin days?
Longest throw.
Longest throw, longest catch. Who you had up the
And
seams?
that, it might have been the Perry that one. I think it was like maybe 60 yards,
60
65,
yards to
somewhere
Parrot.
around there. Yeah.
What was you see a lot of celebrations these days, right? In the NFL. Like the Vikings are pretty cool. A lot of cool ones out there. Justin Jefferson, a big fan of him. You had a touchdown celebration. What was your touchdown celebration like?
No, it's just all high fives
Were
and
you like
helmet smacks.
really like knocking a helmet, high five around?
Yeah.
I
And
tell
we
you,
weren't
like,
allowed to celebrate.
really.
Yeah,
So wait a minute. Was there a
that's a
flag
penalty.
back
Yeah.
in the day? Was
In the NFL, it used to be a penalty.
really it's like a 15-yard penalty now, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Excessive celebration. So back then there was a penalty for celebration.
Absolutely. You
Wow.
couldn't spike the ball. You couldn't throw the ball. You couldn't do any of it. But it didn't matter. As long as you score, I'm good.
That's it. That's all that matters.
Yes, sir.
The game you had that you said, wasn't my best outing. It's just like one of those games you wish if you could redo it again, have another one at it. The game was like, one of those games. What kind of game stood out to you way back then?
My first game with Ramapo against New Rochelle. I want to say we got blown out like 42-0
No,
in New Rochelle.
this was from leaving Pomona and the first game in Tarampo, right? 10th
Yeah.
grade. First game.
Quick humbling experience. At least 4 interceptions. I didn't know how to read the defense properly. And I was targeting my tight end, so they knew that. So I learned real quick.
This is coming off an undefeated season. You're like, wait a minute. I'm like, I'm not used to this. I'm not used to this. This is not supposed to happen.
Yeah.
It was a humbling experience. Like these guys, I got to read. I got to study more. I got to do this. These guys are about it. They're coming for us now.
We got our revenge. I think the next year they came to us. But I'll never forget that one.
That stood out to you, huh? Awesome, man. So pre-game rituals. You had a ritual you did before a game, tie your sneaker a certain way, colors, helmets, armband, wristband, anything like you had to do. If you didn't do it, like we weren't playing this game. We weren't starting this game. We weren't going out on the field.
No, not too much. Just long as I had everything I needed, my wristband, and I think the socks. I always had 2 pairs of socks on with my cleats. Same thing with basketball. Something about that snug feel.
Right.
But other than that, no rituals or anything. It was just mentally, everything was more mental.
I'm OCD, man. I gotta have certain things. If you move one thing in the man cave right now, or Matt, I'll know exactly where you moved it. It wasn't like that all the time growing up, John. It was not like that, man.
No, I'm like that now, but back then, it's just like I said, that anxiety kicks in. You can't even think straight. It's just like, get me out there. Let's get started.
Should you guys have more 1 games at the Griffin, throughout the Griffin years? What prevented that from happening? What do you think?
I'm not here to throw anybody under the bus, but I did try to introduce a shotgun offense, which you see run today.
Really?
With Pat and Perry on either side of me, and we could run the same plays and more. And it was just shot down. And then I was told after I left that they were running that shotgun offense.
You see, John, this is why we're having these discussions. These are these stories that no one ever talked about or knew. So you came this year, so instead of these guys being in the backfield, split them out, have them be wide receivers, right? Who's going to
No,
cover?
no, it's pretty much just how you see a shotgun with a running back on each side of you. So now I have Pat Perry
Okay.
on instead of running an I formation.
Okay.
Ramapo is running an I formation. My brother played running back. He's 8
Okay.
years older than me. He played running back at Ramapo, and they're running the same offense.
So
So if you're playing the same competition every year,
right.
don't you think it's easy to stop that offense?
Of course. So why would they shoot that down? I mean, was that
Because it's a kid asking an adult to try something new, and at that time, that's frowned upon. So
it's stubborn? Yeah. Yeah. That man, you guys would have. That's unbelievable. So that was shot down. Was that like a hard? You felt some type of way, or you're
no,
like, all right.
you just play on. That's all you can do. But I saw that at colleges and other places already being run, and I watch more college football than I do pro. So seeing this offense being run, and I'm like, hey, let's try this. And they're like, nah, it just wasn't even a thought.
That's unbelievable, man. Stubborn, huh? It's like you said, the little kid telling the grown adult what to do, what not to do. But if something is going to work, right? I mean,
but that's why sometimes I would just change plays.
so that's what we get it back. So when you get coach call one play, you get to the huddle. You're like, you know what? I'm gonna do my own thing. Perry dropped the ball. I'm gonna go back to him right now. I'm gonna flip the play, go back to him. We got a touchdown.
I already know I'm gonna get screamed at, but at least we're gonna get a touchdown out of it. So it's like it's all good.
How many concussions you think you had, John, back in Griffin years? You had concussions, you think, back then? You think any?
No, I've definitely I've hit people hard to where I probably should have had one, but I know I didn't. I knew. I want to say it was that maybe our junior year. Yeah, Perry and Bernard LaForest, they hit. And when Perry came back into the huddle, I knew. When I looked in his eyes, I told him to get off the field. Like I knew something was wrong. And yeah, they knew he had a concussion at that point, but I don't think I've ever felt that.
Was that stuff like, I mean, it's a different time, right? We're living in. Back in the day, it was like dust yourself off, go right back in there. Right now, it's like protocol, and you're out for a week or two, or even more. You see with Tua. How scary was it back in the day, though? Like, was that like a thing talked about a lot back in the day?
No, we didn't. Honestly, we didn't deal with a lot of injuries. I don't remember anyone breaking any bones. Like we were just tough little gritty kids, man. Other than Perry, and then cramps. Cramps is what got people more than anything.
Was that like not warming up properly or drinking enough
not
water?
enough water, eating bananas,
water.
like simple things, yo.
Toughest injury you sustained during high school?
My senior year, right before the third game, I dislocated my right shoulder, which was my throwing arm, and I still deal with it to this day.
To this day, you still feel pain? Any angst? Any like?
It's just uncomfortable sometimes. I wouldn't say pain, but I had the option to get it fixed. But if I would have had surgery, then I would have missed out on the senior year of basketball.
Wow! So you played that whole senior year, that great squad, 96, 97, with a bum shoulder.
Yes, sir.
No one
knew. No one knew. My parents knew, and the football coach knew. I don't even think basketball. I didn't even tell Sax. He didn't really know.
Wow. How was that even possible? I mean, there was no social media back then too, right? So you couldn't tweet about it. You couldn't talk about it, right?
It's how we grew up. When your parents tell you, we don't have insurance, don't go out there and get hurt, then you suck up everything that happens.
That's great. That's unbelievable. Nope, that never came out, never got talked about. Were you in pain though, John? I mean, that 96, 97 season hooping, were you in pain? Because football was done and here comes basketball.
During basketball, no. I mean, maybe sometimes somebody may have bumped me or something a little bit, but it wasn't anything excruciating. It was just more the motioning of shooting. My shot went down a lot. People really didn't know. They probably didn't pay attention because the team was so good that year. I didn't have to shoot a lot.
Right.
But my shooting was nowhere close to what it was the year before that.
What were you benching back then? Who was the biggest guy back then? Who was benching? What were they benching back then?
Benching. I think we started weight room maybe our junior year. Like weights wasn't that big. People used to go to gym on their own, but
right.
We were more into calisthenics.
Calisthenics.
Also, before the season, Pat, Perry, Ian, we would go out to Ramapo and run stairs and do push-ups and sit-ups. Like we were more into building our strength. But Pat and Perry are more into the bodybuilding, getting bigger. They're both huge now. if you haven't seen them.
Jeez, I haven't seen a picture of them in a long time. Are they on social media, by the way, Pat and Perry? Are they like?
Nope, smart man.
Wow, we'll leave it at that, right?
But I'll send you a picture so you see.
Yeah, send me a picture so I can see at least off air. He's John Thompson, former Pomona Panther, Ramapo Griffin coach, father, and soon to be inducted in the Rockland County Hall of Fame with the entire 1996-97 basketball squad joining us today on today's program. So let's talk some hoops, John. So 10th, 12th grade, same thing, varsity right away, JV, varsity right away.
I never played JV. It was straight to varsity from 9th grade. Yeah, and you can tell some animosity coming from seniors on that team.
Because now you're this kid, right? Like from 9th grade. How was he on the JV? How was he on the varsity team right away? He didn't pay his dues, right? Back in the day, it was called paying your dues, right?
But I couldn't care less how anybody felt because I had K-Boy with me and I had Eddie Bell with me. And we've been playing street ball since we were kids. We played on organized, hoop it up and all of that. So to have them with me, the guys that I got to learn and meet over time, I still talk to a lot of them to this day. But when I got up there, it was like, I'm coming for your position.
That was a lot of pressure, John, right? You had to battle with Meg, coming in 10th grade. That was over with. That was a win. And now here comes basketball. Now this guy from 9th grade taking our spot now. But like you said, you didn't care less. You had that, the way we were brought up, right? You had that, like, it's me, that's it. Like, I know you're a big team guy, obviously, but like feelings were hurt. It is what it is. Move on, right? If you're with us, you're with us. What position you played, John? What jersey number were you back in the day? Back in 10th grade.
Number 40, Sean Kemp.
Really? You were Sean Kemp back in the day, number 40. I gotta write that on my notes all these years. Sean Kemp.
Yeah, the Rain Man.
So you were big into, well, he was like kind of, him and Gary Payton were kind of like maybe he's like before CP3 and like Blake Griffin, right? Lob City, right?
Oh yeah.
People don't realize how special that Sonic team was. I mean, Jordan beat him in '96, right? But that team was really, really good. You had the Glove, you had Detlef Shrimp, you had Sam Perkins, right? You had Hersey Hawkins, right?
Yeah,
you had the Rain Man. I mean, this team, you had Nate McMillan, really good head coach, not coaching right now. I believe maybe an assistant coach. But that Sonic team was really, really good, John.
Oh, yeah. Yes, sir.
So you looked up to Sean Kemp. How about that? Sean Kemp, number 40. And what position were you? Were you, was it point? Was it guard, power?
More like a 3, like a small forward.
Small forward wing. Okay. Who was the coach back then? Was it Scarp? Who was the coach back then?
David Sachs.
Coach Sachs. Coach Sachs. Coach Sachs was the coach back then. How tough was he on you guys, right? He was tough, right?
Very tough. They didn't get along too well in the beginning, but I was rough around the edges and when you got there, you were a little rough. You were a little got to mold you a little bit. This guy's coming here, you're undefeated, got a big chip on the shoulder now, and then it was like growing pains, right? Oh yeah, I remember. I don't know if this was our first scrimmage, but we went to scrimmage against Middletown.
Okay.
And they had 2 players that were like 6'8", 6'9". Mm-hmm. Right, and our tallest player was 6'10", George. I don't know if you remember George.
George.
Yeah. But he just wasn't a match for them. We went to play. K-Boy didn't play, and Eddie Bell didn't play. So we're down our point guard and our shooting guard, and we got destroyed.
You had no backcourt.
Destroyed. And then after the game, we're at their court. He tells us to run, and I didn't run. Yeah, suicide.
Really? Like suicide. Yeah, run some suicides.
I was like, I'm not running. He's like, what do you mean? I was like, we don't have our starting point guard and our starting shooting guard. Of course we're going to get destroyed.
Of course.
So that was just me being stubborn, not knowing this is your head coach. Do what your head coach says. But at that time, like I said, I'm still rough around the edges. So I pretty much got kicked off the team for that. And I had to go back and apologize to the team and practice to get back on.
Really? So John Thompson was kicked off the basketball team. Are you kidding me? So how long was this for? A week? Couple days?
Probably a week. My father sat me down and talked to me, and we had that father-son talk, and I was like, all right, I'll go apologize.
It's like if I went to St. Joe's, I would have had my way, and this would have never happened.
It was a blessing in disguise because I no longer was a starter, and he brought me off the bench. And that anger I had from him bringing me off the bench, I played even better.
Like, I'm going to show you now, coach. I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you. Challenging practice was challenging, right? I mean, you hate what drills you hated most back in the basketball days.
Basketball was easy compared to football. So I don't know, suicides, breeze, like, and all of us, we were just athletes. For me, I can't tell you. Oh,
Yeah,
okay, I got one for you.
yeah.
When you got to put your back against the wall and hold
Okay,
your arms up and kneel
okay.
down. Yeah, you got to
Oh
squat and
man,
oh yeah, that was the burner. And of course, you do that at the end of practice when you're already tired.
was
Crazy.
was parents allowed to practice, or how were parents at games, John? Were they screaming? Were they loud? Did any parent ever got kicked out? Yours ever got kicked out of games? Because parents
No,
parents could be
my
rowdy.
parents. Yeah, my parents were super cool. Not that I know, our crowd was wild. Our crowd was wild, and that's why I loved our crowd, man.
I was at
They
that
were
game.
yeah.
I was a couple games, Sean. Looking back now at that gym, man. Rocco, my guy, Rocco, man, Gary, he was in people's faces, man. It was him and Slim like this. I'm
Yeah,
like, this is intense. They were like, "Brr." I'm like, wait a minute, these guys are intense. And I see you back
yeah,
there chilling. They were like your guys. You were like, go get them.
yeah. Those are the pit bulls,
They
man.
was
And Jerome, yeah, man. Let them do
Jerome
their
Gale,
job.
Slim, Rocco. Oh
Yep.
my
I just
goodness.
made sure I kept feeding them to keep them happy. But when it was time to play defense, we were serious.
Who was the biggest trash talker on that team, that squad?
Mm. Oof.
Because there was some stuff. There was some stuff said, John. I was close by, man. I was like a little mini reporter back then. Not as like much as I cover sports back then, but I was looking at some stuff I can't even repeat, man. It was some stuff being said.
It was
No,
probably Columbus, CC,
CC
Rocco,
Slim, Rocco.
myself, and Jerome. Yeah, we were always in everybody's face.
Give me some trash talk, John. How was your trash talk? Because I don't see you being a trash talk kind of guy, man. I don't see you being a trash talk kind of
You
guy,
got
man.
let me know when you want to play some one-on-one, man. Let me know.
I mean, they say Larry Bird was a serious trash talker. Larry Bird, the glove, them dudes were
Oh yeah.
serious, man. Like
And
this,
I like to talk people out of their game too. So I'm one of those to try to get in your head and
right?
to tap you on your side when I hit a shot on you, or so they could go complain to the ref.
You did like maybe some research on somebody's players, their family, talk some junk. You know, you got some bulletin material.
Oh yeah.
I tell you, Rocco, Slim, and those guys, man. I was like, I wouldn't want to play these guys.
Yeah, and that's how intense practice was. Like the games of our senior year for Ramapo in basketball, not to throw any shade on our competition, but games were a breeze because the practices were so tough. Like we went hard in practice.
So for the games,
Oh,
it's just a game. It's ready to
yeah,
go.
yeah, man.
Who was the best shooter on that team? By the like you would say,
Probably Rasheen Davis.
Rasheen Davis. Was he? He was a point guard, wasn't he? Point guard, I
Yeah,
believe.
yeah.
Rasheen was damn good.
He had a smooth game, smooth jumper.
Rashid was nice. Was he number one?
I don't remember Ra's number.
Okay.
I don't know. I want to say 20. I don't
20.
know why that number pops up, but possibly 20.
I'll make some notes here. I gotta pull it up maybe in some spare time. And there's a picture floating around. I think I saw. I don't know if correct me if I'm wrong. But you guys and Coach K, Duke, is that a thing?
Oh, Coach Sachs and Paul Suber had met Coach K, and he held up our jerseys, our shirts, Ramapo basketball shirts. Yeah,
Really?
yeah, it was dope.
Would you say to Coach K? You say anything about Duke, Grand Hill, anything?
Oh no, I never met him. I don't remember when they met him. I just remember
Okay.
seeing the picture. I
You saw the
remember
picture, right?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, where was I when this was happening? Pretty cool moment, though. Pretty cool moment,
yeah.
man. Captaincy. How'd you become captain on that team? Once again, like football, you got voted, animosity, jealousy.
Practice, man. Like I tell you, like nobody's gonna beat me in a suicide. If you do, you're working hard at it. Like I like to push, whoever my teammates are, because like I said, when the game comes, the game should not be as hard as practice.
How good was chemistry on that team, on that Griffin team? You guys all got along, or was some?
Yeah, that senior year was magical. It definitely was. We didn't understand Coach Sachs' strategy until that senior year. And just to put that into perspective, we ran a 1-2-2 press.
Okay.
We played against I think the first game that we played against North Rockland, I had a really tough game. They ran like a triangle and two or a
Okay.
box and one defense on me. So I
Traps
had
you.
somebody on me the whole time, and I never had anyone run that on me. And so in the newspaper, it said North Rockland locks Thomason down. So Coach Sachs took that personal. So he put in an offense specifically for that defense. And I dropped like 40 that next time we played them. And we ran a 1-2-2 press where they didn't get across half court for a quarter, where their coach was complaining to the ref, and then they made us come out of the press.
Wow.
And that's when we all looked at Sachs like, yo, this dude knows what he's doing.
Definitely, for sure. So it was definitely a learning curve, right? From 10th, 11th, and 12 was like, I got this. We got this now. Now we know. Now we see the big picture, what he's trying to make us do, what he's trying to do. Now we get it now. We got it. Everything was clicking by 12th grade,
and
right?
the respect, once the respect for him kicked in, everything else became a breeze. Not to say it wasn't always there, but when you really know a coach knows what he's doing, he's just not out there talking and yelling. He has a strategy. And it was just that respect kicked in. And then in mid-practice, you're able to focus more on practice. When he's talking, you're like, okay, listen to what he's saying. He's telling you this for a reason. When you get in the game and you see you have 6 steals that game, it's like, okay, this is because the coach put me in that position to get those steals. I didn't do that on my own,
How were you at the free throw line? Pretty good?
Yeah, I was a good free throw shooter until they told me that I was about to hit 1,000 points. I wish they never said anything. I probably missed like 12 free throws that game.
Really? So who was that? Who was that? So your 1,000 points. Who was that game against, John?
I want to say, I think it was Arlington.
Arlington, 1,000 PTS. Wow.
I think so.
So you couldn't sleep the night before. It was a countdown, right? You had a countdown. And
no, I didn't know until the day of the game.
Oh, you found out when you got to the arena?
Yeah, I had no idea.
Wow.
No idea.
You ever hit any buzzer beaters? Any buzzer beaters you ever hit? Any
not a buzzer beater, but I hit a shot to put us up, and then the other team get fouled and they missed their free throws or something. So it wasn't a buzzer beater, but it was still a game winner.
Came close. What is the dumbest argument you had back then? And now you look back, you're like, this is like so stupid. Like really? I was so mad, upset, throwing uniforms, shoes flying, mad. Now you look back, you're like, this was so dumb.
Pretty much the time I just told you when we had that scrimmage.
Yeah.
Like I should have just ran the suicides, but I couldn't do it. My stubbornness.
Oh man. Who was the starting 5 on that Griffin team? Who you had back then? It was you, right? It was you, small forward.
Senior year?
Senior year.
Rashid Davis, Columbus, Patrick, and Jerome Gibbs.
Starting 5, huh?
Yeah.
Man, oh man.
So it's pretty much nothing but height. Even though Jerome wasn't as tall, but he was actually played our shooting guard, even though he was so big.
Right.
But on the boards, all of us are crashing. So yeah, it's a tough team, man.
Who was the 6th man on that team? Guy was under, he was used, but he didn't get the much praise and glory. But when he played PT, he was
Rocco, man. Gary Moyes.
Really? Rocco was 6th man.
Yeah.
I gotta send him this clip, John.
But also, it wasn't just a 6th man. That's the thing, yo. You also had Lenny Rogers coming in.
Lenny, yes, yeah. Lenny. Shout out to Lenny, by the way, Lenny.
Which Lenny, I don't know. Lenny was a beast on the courts. He was a beast. So
right. Lenny's handles back then were something special too, John. People don't really know.
Smooth jumper. Yeah.
Smooth as ever, man. So Lenny and Rocco. Wow. Jeez, that's unbelievable.
And then we had sophomores coming off, like James Daly we had up there. We had Dion
Bridges, God rest his soul, right?
Yeah, rest in peace, man. Everybody could play. Everybody could, no matter how old you were, if you had game and you came to practice hard and played defense, you could get in the game.
Dion, you had Bridges, you had James Daly. He was my neighbor too. Shout out to James Daly. I mean, John, this team, 96, 97, I mean, Would you put that team up against any of those Griffin teams after we left high school that would beat any Griffin team, John?
That's a tough question. Yeah,
On the
yeah.
record? Yeah.
I mean, yeah, because it's tough because Pat was already there, Jerome was there with me already. So you're really switching out K-Boy and Eddie Bell as starters.
Okay.
But for Rashid Davis to come in, and I played with Rob, in the AAU circuit, and he's coming from the city, so his style of game was almost like K-Boy's.
Right.
So for me, it was very comfortable because I played with K-Boy my whole life as my point guard.
Yeah.
So for him to leave, I'm like, oh, but then Rob's right there, and he almost had the same style of play. And he's throwing me alley-oops from half court. So it's just like, okay, let's go do what we got to do.
So it was K-Boy off the rip, right off 10th grade, and then he left,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then it was Rashid that took over for K-Boy. Jeez, man. That team was special, John. I tell you, man. 96, 97. I mean, I'll never forget it. Biggest rivalry back then in hoops. Was it Spring Valley, North Rockland?
Spring
Suffolk?
Valley, I want to say it's the only team that beat us in the regular season that year.
Spring Valley, really?
Yeah. So, of course, the rival team, and then we smoked them the game after that. But
I wish a sports radio was a thing back then, John. I mean, I wish if it was, man. I wish if it was. But I mean, the word on the street, it was on the street, man. Everybody knew Ramapo, Spring Valley, North Rockland. Everybody knew the rivalry, man. Everybody knew the games, man.
yeah.
It was crazy. What kind of music you listened to before games? Were you an R&B guy, a little rap, a little soul food, any kind of thing to mellow you out with the Walkman CD player?
Nah, it's always hip hop.
Always hip hop.
Hip hop's always been in the blood, man.
What you have back then, man? Cool Dude, JT, CD player, Walkman. I think I still got my Walkman or CD player somewhere, John. Believe it or not, man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I got vinyl
I
now
have
too.
CDs.
You got CDs. You got a CD player.
And I have some DVDs left.
So what you have back then, man? You had a Walkman? You had a CD player? What you have back then?
At that time, it was a CD player, and I specifically remember playing Redman. We was playing Redman that year. We was playing Jay-Z Reasonable Doubt. We was playing the Fugees, Ready or Not. That was playing when we used to warm up. Like,
wow.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. You know what I got, John, in the man cave? I got a vinyl player. I'm big into vinyl now. You know, at our age now, John, it mellows you out. You come home, you relax, you lock the door, you got some coquito. I got vinyls now, John. I'm collecting vinyls now, man.
There you go. I still have a crate. My father was a DJ, so I still have a crate of records.
Really?
Yeah.
So your pops was a DJ?
Oh yeah.
Wow. Unbelievable, man.
If you don't remember the teen nights at Facade.
Facade was big.
That was us DJing. We was throwing those parties.
So he had you up on stage DJing, mixing.
My father told me, I would say at 13 or 14, he says, no longer giving you money. This is how you use this DJ equipment. He set us up at first, I think, at the Camelot in Spring Valley. Then we started parties at my place in Nyack. And then we ended up going over to Facade.
That's unbelievable. So you never had a job, right, John? Like you were like, it was always sports. Then it was like a little DJ on the side.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't have I think my first job was like 20.
Because you play sports all your life. So how are you going to work? How are you going to work? Your summers are normal. You're DJing, you're playing. You have no time for a job. Like that doesn't exist.
Well, that was a way to make money. DJ,
that was it.
So, yeah.
What kind of kicks you had back in the day, John? Because you had some Jordan. I know you had some J's, man. Cleats and sneaks.
Oh yeah.
You always had a fresh pair of kicks, man.
I forgot about cleats and sneaks.
Cleats and sneaks. I mean, you can't forget about cleats and sneaks, man. Around 59, man.
Oh yeah.
You always had a fresh pair of kicks, man. I'm wondering. I'm like looking at you guys. I'm like in the hallway. I got some Reeboks, some pumps, whatever. I'm like, these dudes got the freshest pair of sneakers on the court. You hear screeching. I'm like, how are these dudes affording all this gear? I'm like, this is crazy.
Fortunately, my father, I never asked for many things. So my pops always kept me laced with some kicks. And then once I started playing with Riverside, they would coach would just open up a closet. And it was just nothing. They were sponsored by Nike. So it was just a closet full of Nikes. He's like, what size you? 13. There you go.
But you guys all had fresh kicks, man. Laced up, sneakered up. I'm like, I'm just a little kid in the hallway, just, like looking up to you guys like, I'm jealous over here, man. Sneakers all wrinkled down, raggedy ass sneakers.
See, now you got all the kings. Now you got
Oh
all
no, I
the
got all. Oh man, what was the furthest you guys end up going? That 96, 97 squad was pretty fun. I think I went to a game at the county center, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure if you guys
Yeah.
won or lost, John. And
No,
it
yeah,
was
that was the senior year. That was against FDR, where
FDR.
they had two kids 6'6".
Those
So
guys were
that,
monsters.
yeah, yo, this kid that's the first time someone had that Iverson crossover on us, because the Iverson crossover was just really starting to pop.
Because you
And he
guys were
had
rolling. You guys were rolling the
Yeah.
whole season, rolling. But you guys got to these. I remember going to that game, vaguely remember that game. That game was something else. I mean, you can only fit 5,000, John, but I swore
Oh, it's
that
packed.
thing was packed, John, to the rafters.
Yeah, we balled out, man. That was a dope game. And then after that game, we went to Binghamton.
Okay, all the way upstate.
And,
Yep.
Yeah, we played them. We beat them. That was we had a good amount of the crowd came up to that. That was pretty dope.
Right.
And then the worst game of my life was the semifinals for states.
Semifinals.
Hempstead, Long Island, against Tavares Bell. He had a horrible game. I had a horrible game.
Really?
Yeah.
What was that like going into that game, John? Were you excited? Were you pumped? This was it? What do you think went wrong in that game? What happened? Turnovers? Guys weren't focused?
It was just a lot going on with I blacked out. Like, I don't remember. I remember us getting up there, being at the hotel. Once we got to the stadium, I don't remember. I remember I couldn't breathe. Like I think I had bronchitis.
You were
That
sick.
kicked in. I couldn't really breathe, and I just had a horrible game. It was honestly the worst game of my life. It was on the biggest stage.
Couldn't come at a better time, huh? Imagine that.
Yeah. But for whatever reason, it happened. But I tell you, that ride back, because we didn't expect to go that far. We kind of were just on this journey. We had so much fun coming back, and we were joking around, laughing. And the bus driver came out his mouth, and he said, "This doesn't look like a team that just won
lost.
or something." You know, that
Yeah,
just lost. He's like, "Did you guys win?" And we roasted him the whole way back to the point we were in tears. I was like, "You shouldn't have opened your mouth, man."
I was gonna ask you like how the ride back was. Were you upset? Were you angry?
No.
Like pissed?
Nope. We enjoyed that ride. Of course, we wanted to win that, but we weren't expecting to go to states. We didn't know we were gonna,
Yeah.
it was a magical journey. Like I said, how can you possibly win? Your so-called best player has his worst game.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Rashid had an amazing game. The rest of the guys did what they had to do, but no one ever came into me and be like, "Yo, you let us down" or anything. It's just like, "Yo, great season." I was like, "I agree. We had a great season."
Any do-overs? Panther days, Griffin days, basketball days, any do-overs, second chances?
Nah, and I tell people about that St. Joe's thing. I still wouldn't have done it because
To this very day,
building-
to this very day.
Yeah, the friendships I have to this day, it's priceless.
Favorite teacher in high school? Who was your favorite teacher back in high school?
Good question. We might have to come back to that one.
Yeah. Okay. We'll come back to that. So, high school, great career, ninth grade and all through, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10, 11, 12. And then it was like we all graduated, right? And it was like over. Blink of an eye, it was over. Any scholarship offers after high school? I mean, how was high school life after high school?
I had scholarships everywhere. I just didn't have the grades.
Okay.
Grades were okay, but they weren't
Right.
great.
Right.
Go straight to D1. So
Right.
I was supposed to go to University of Miami,
Mhm.
and they sent me to a junior college out
Okay.
in Illinois.
Okay.
So I was in Southern Illinois. It's about 4 hours south of Chicago.
Really?
Olney, Olney, home of the white squirrels.
So really, so over here you got like some gray, dark, black squirrels. Over there you got white squirrels over there.
First time I saw them running around, I'm like, "What is that?" Just running all through this park, and they're white squirrels. If you kill one, it was like a $5,000 fine. It was
Really?
crazy. I was out in the middle of the country.
I gotta Google that up, man. I gotta look at that. White squirrels out in Illinois. I was about to say, what is there to do out there besides hooping?
Play ball and find ways to party, like some very unique ways, man. I've met people from Indiana, Illinois, like where were we at? Tennessee.
Right.
Yeah, like the team was good, and the coach. I don't think the coach knew how to use the team properly. because there was times we had 6'10" from Tennessee sitting on the bench. I would get in with this kid and just cross somebody over, throw him an alley-oop, and it would take us out the game. He's like, we don't play that kind of ball. I'm like, what kind of ball are you talking about? So,
Wow.
and listen to this. They tried to implement our 1-2-2 press from Ramapo.
From Ramapo back then. Was that something that you told them when we ran back in high school? And then
Just from watching our tapes.
oh,
So, and I'm trying to explain to him, it took us 3 years to learn this press.
Yeah, it took
Like,
you guys
almost
10,
all of us were
11,
with
and
this
then
coach,
12.
yeah. So this is nothing you can teach, especially in a 2-year college. Just wasn't going to happen.
What position were you back in Southern Illinois? Small forward, point guard?
Same, yeah, small forward.
Small forward.
It was an issue out there though, because now I had that crossover. I was practicing that crossover, so they didn't really know what it was out there yet.
This is like 98, early 98.
Yeah, man. So literally like crossing people into the crowd, kind of laying it up, and the coach getting mad, like, stop doing that. I was like, what? It's a crossover. So I didn't enjoy really playing out there because he didn't understand the style of bat, especially coming from East Coast. Midwest is totally different.
Correct.
Totally different style of ball. And I got to play against Sean Marion out there, Vincennes. He played at the junior college in Vincennes.
NBA Sean Marion.
Yeah.
His shot was ridiculous, man. He always had that shot back in the day.
Yep. And everybody kept talking about this dude. Sean Marion. I was like, who the hell is Sean Marion? So we get there, my coach puts me in, and we go at it. We going shot for shot. And the coach didn't like my style of playing, so he took me out.
Really?
So I was like, I don't know what else to do here. Like, so I just didn't really enjoy being there.
You were like the new kid on the block. Now you got to pay your dues now, right? 98, nobody knows JT. Kind of heard of him, see tape, but now this kid, you know, he's got to earn his stripes. So how long were you there for? You stayed the 2 years?
No, I was there for a year. I did really good grade-wise, but I just didn't like playing ball there. So I ended up going to Sullivan.
You went to Sullivan?
Upstate, up in Liberty, which I love playing for the coach that was there. And
where's that, in New York? Sullivan, New York?
Yeah, in Liberty, New York, up there by Monticello.
Okay, so you came back home after 1 year in Southern Illinois. You came back home to and you played out there for what, another year or two?
I played there for a year, and then I realized that I just was getting in trouble, and I didn't want to play basketball anymore. That wasn't my first love. I just, was happy to be able to go to college, get an education. And then I ended up moving to Florida. I was just like, I didn't want to be in New York anymore, and continue with school, but I was done playing ball.
That was it. So this was like 2000, right? Ish.
Yeah.
That was it. Do you miss it though? Like basketball, football, you look back, you're like, man.
No, I played men's leagues for at least another 15 years.
After that, like pickup games and all that stuff like that. So you were still hooping out there.
I met Doc Rivers and his son, Austin Rivers.
Austin
was
Rivers.
Like 10 years old when I met him.
Really?
In Orlando, playing. We won the Hoop It Up tournament out there. Yeah, I was still playing. I was still out there. Yeah, I still had that same tenacity about the game, but I just didn't want to play for any coaches. I didn't want to play with refs. Like, I just wanted to play ball.
What'd you say to Doc? Any conversations with Doc? Any,
No, we just kind of met him. He said he watched our game, and he congratulated us, and, we just, so he was a fan of his, of him playing and being a coach.
He was a Knicks back then too, and became a great basketball coach too. Won a championship with the Boston Celtics too. Was he the same Doc Rivers from back then? Player, coach, same guy we see today?
Oh yeah. Super cool.
Super cool dude. So now tell us about this Hall of Fame thing coming up. I mean, because Josh told me about it. I didn't get to hear from you. I was very surprised. I'm like, man, nobody told me about this thing coming up. So this Hall of Fame, John. I mean, Rockland County Hall of Fame. 96, 97. I mean, this squad being inducted. Your thoughts on that? How'd you find out? When'd you find out? I mean, what are you looking forward to the most in seeing these guys again? I mean, what kind of memories is that going to bring back again?
Yeah, man, it's just a special group. I got the text from Jerome Gales.
Jerome.
And as soon as I saw his name pop up, I was hoping it wasn't something bad. Because sometimes, when you get those texts, it's like, listen, guess who just died?
Yeah.
Guess what happened? It's like,
Yeah.
So as I'm reading it, I was like, oh, wow, word. Oh, we get inducted? I was like, okay. So I just told him, thank you for sharing the news. And he let me know that Tony Russo was going to call me. And for people that don't know who Tony Russo was, let me
Who's
tell
Tony
you.
Russo? Yes, please tell us who Tony Russo is.
Since I was a freshman at Ramapo, I had this big white dude at the games all the time. He's at like every game. We're having these conversations. He's telling me how he used to play for Ramapo, how he used to drink a 6-pack and then go drop 30. I'm like, what? So all these years, I'm talking to this guy, he's cool, So the day they tell me I'm going to break the record, he goes, yeah, you're about to break my record. I was like, wow, all these years, man. Just saying, talking to the guy that had the record all these years after drinking a 6-pack. It's like crazy.
That's crazy, man. You got any speeches? Any speeches you coming up with? Anything you writing or
I don't know. No, I want to honor Coach Sachs and and
sure.
Dion and all the coaches that were there with us, Coach Zuber and Anderson, Coach Anderson, Coach JV, Paul Suber, who's still out there in Arizona, putting kids in the NBA to this day. So, and just seeing all the fellas would be dope,
When was the last time you stepped foot in the hallways, Ramapo? Any memories? Ramapo, Pomona, you stepped foot in?
Man, my niece graduated from Ramapo.
Okay. A couple years ago.
No, it wasn't. It was a while.
It was a while ago.
My son, let me see. My son's 23, so it was about 13 years.
13 years ago.
13 years, yeah.
Okay.
And I kind of just went in the gym to just look around in the gym a little bit.
But it felt a little different. Felt like some memories came back. You like, give me a basketball. I'm ready. I'm ready to hoop. 1v1. Who's got next?
I just wanted to show my son, that his pop's name was still up in the gym.
Yeah. Was he like in awe? Like, man, that's incredible, man.
That started his basketball journey. So it's pretty cool.
Any students come out of the hallways to see who's this tall guy? John Thompson. This is John. Any teachers came out there to give you a dap? Anybody came out there?
No. I didn't go into school because the graduation was held outside.
It was held outside.
So,
okay.
Yeah. So where we parked, I just went into the gym real quick to just check it out and get some of those memories back.
So before we go some rapid fire questions, coming back to this question, right? Favorite teacher in high school? I'll tell you mine. I think it was Mr. John Starks, I believe, Spanish teacher. He was he was a bald dude. He was awesome, man. John Starks. He was cool. He was super, super cool, man. I always remember John Starks. Who was your favorite? No favorites?
Not off the top.
Not off the top. Like you're making me feel old now, man, John. You're making me feel old, man. He's John Thompson, former Pomona Panther, Ramapo Griffin coach, father, soon to be inducted into the Rockland County Hall of Fame. The entire 96, 97 squad. Real quick, John. So when is that going to be? November, right? You got some dates for us, right? Anybody listening? Any dates? You're gonna plug it online, right? For us, so we all know.
Yeah. As soon as I find out, I'll definitely get that information out. But I know I think he said November 14th through the 16th that weekend.
Okay.
So most likely it'll be that Saturday, but it could be on a Friday. So I don't know until they send that information out.
Okay. That's gonna be a glorious time, man. I can't wait for that, for sure. So some rapid fire questions here, John. Are you ready?
Let's go.
LeBron or MJ? Who do you got?
MJ.
All-time favorite player?
My all-time favorite is Dr. J.
Dr. J. All right. I'll go with LeBron. All right. We digress. NBA ratings are down, right? Tremendously. If you are the commissioner, Adam Silver, how do you fix the ratings, NBA ratings?
Add a 4 point, like that circle like they have on the 3 and 3.
That's exactly what I said.
So simple.
That's it, right? Your thoughts on load management? You fan of load management?
And bring outside people in for the dunk contest versus the NBA players.
Like outside, like other leagues, like European leagues, whatever case may be.
These guys on YouTube, some of them don't have any name that I don't even know of. They're doing some amazing dunks.
There you go. Some YouTube guys, European foreign guys. That's good. 3 points to a 4 point line. What's your thoughts on load management, man? Because we didn't have load management back in our day.
It's a joke. It's a joke. Because, see, this is the thing. I don't want to get into the whole LeBron and Jordan thing. But think about what Jordan did without missing a game, playing with the flu. Like, there's no excuses. And we didn't have excuses when we were younger. Like, it's either, what does the coach say? If you're hurt, you can play. If you're injured, you can't play. So you hurt or injured.
That's it. I mean, the fans suffer too, John. I mean, these guys, they come to your town once a year. If you're on the East Coast or West Coast, you save up money to watch one game, and now you find out tip-off time, this guy's hurt or he's not playing or something came up.
I was upset last night. LaMelo Ball didn't play.
Oh, he came to where was he, in Orlando last night?
They played against OKC. I wanted to see him against SG.
And he wasn't there. Unreal. Describe Steph Curry in one word. How do you describe Steph Curry?
Oof. Absolutely amazing. He's a alien.
Did he hurt the game of, because I get this all the time, John. I go back and forth with guys all the time. Did he hurt the game of basketball? Yes, he made it the way it is, special for sure. But there's only one Steph Curry, right, John? I mean,
no,
guys,
it's not his fault. If people are going to copy somebody, then. But I do understand when people say that, because there's a reason why I don't care to play basketball anymore right now. Is if I'm 6'5" and I have a guy 5'10" on me, and I'm in the post, and you shoot an NBA three and hit the backboard.
Like, what are we doing? Like, guys are averaging like 50 threes a game now, John. I mean, combined now. Like, what are these guys doing? Logo threes. I mean, like, you guys are not Steph Curry or Dame Lillard. You know, some guys got range, they can shoot it. But you see these guys on these teams, you're like 70-some threes. You're just like, just like, that's why the game is the way it is. It's
been going on for years and years and years.
I mean, who needs a center now, right? Low post moves or like centers aren't the thing anymore to pass. You're a center, you got to be shooting threes. Could you imagine like Patrick Ewing, Rick Schmitz shooting threes? You'd be like, what the hell are you doing?
I'm waiting for another Shaq to come into the league that don't even care about threes, that just wants to dunk on everybody.
Seriously, man. What's your thoughts on Wemby? How special can Wemby be next 20 years?
He is the future. Because as Curry probably has a few more years that he, will play. And LeBron will be gone. And then it's Wemby's time. Like, I saw him do a crossover the other day that didn't even look like it was possible for somebody that height.
His reach and his length, John, it's like 2 dribbles and he's dunking already. I'm like, is this guy even serious?
And he's shooting fadeaway three-pointers like his free throws. So
the Christmas game, he was jacking him up. He was knocking him down. But I don't have a problem with that. If you're shooting up like that and you can make him, no problem. But you have these other guys like jacking threes. You're like, what are you doing, man? Like, what are you doing? What are we watching here?
But the video game era is very close, where everyone on the team can do it all.
For sure. Will Mike Tyson ever fight again?
I hope not. I don't want to see him. If he can fight without having to bite his gloves from holding back, I would watch it. But unfortunately, I don't think he needed the money, but he took it. So it is what it is.
20 mil in what, 16 minutes?
Yeah.
Good, not a bad payday. Tupac, Biggie, Jay-Z, or Nas? Who do you got? Who's your I agree, Nas. I mean, what Nas has done, John, in like the last 6-7 years, the albums upon albums upon albums upon hits upon hits upon hits. I mean, Nas is like, he's a gift, man. I mean, Jay-Z stopped rapping, rest in peace, Tupac and Biggie. But Nas, man, he's I think to me, he's my favorite for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. Favorite R&B group song? Who do you got?
Ooh, I said group. Yikes.
I help you out, man. Since we're old now, right? Let me give you some Jodeci.
That's I would say for our era, for that 90s.
Because kids these days are like, what is R&B? What is the R&B? What is that? Is that a music group? What is that? Like, what are we doing, man? So who do you got? You got little Jodeci.
I would go with Jodeci.
Little Escape was good, right? Jagged Edge was good. Mary J. Blige, she was good. She did her thing back in the day. But yeah, man, it's unbelievable with kids. You give them a VHS right now or a Walkman, or they'd be like, what is this? We're getting old, John. I'm telling you, man. We're getting old. Best barber in Rockland County, man. Who is your best barber? Favorite barber in Rockland County?
Oh, I gotta go with my man, Manny.
Manny, really?
Manny used to have me decked out from junior high school. I didn't go to barbershops that much. I always, either him or Andy. Andy, I used to go to their house.
Andy.
Or they would come to my house. But Manny has been my guy since I would think I was in 7th grade.
So Manny cut hair at with Big Z's, right? Was it Big Z's?
Yep.
Spring Valley?
Big
Bald
Z's.
Manny.
Yep.
Manny's phenomenal. He's awesome. I gotta give a shout out to Manny too. I gotta make sure I send him this clip. So you got Manny, okay? And then there was Funny there up there. There was some other guys up there. You know who my barber was? I think my all-time favorite.
Yeah.
My all-time favorite barber was I think Damian Spencer, man. D.
Yeah,
If you'd have if you'd have a D cut, man,
you can't never get an appointment with D though. I don't mess with D. He'd be like,
you can't get an appointment to this day, John. What are we talking about, right?
He's like, yo, I got you. Hold on, come through at 2. I'll be sitting there for 2 hours, yo. Come on.
Oh man, so
everybody got time for that.
That lineup, that was like a fate. That lineup was crazy. That top 5 lineup was crazy. You had Manny, Andy, you had Funny, you had Kirk that moved to, I think, Vegas. He moved to become a cop or something like that. That lineup was crazy, man. But shout out to D, by the way, man. D's doing big things. But
oh, no doubt.
D, man, open up your appointments, bro. We need some haircuts here, man. Stop playing.
I'm good. I cut my own hair now, brother. I'm good.
What kind of hairstyle you had back then? You had a fade, high top, a Gumby, a high top. What kind of hairstyle you were rocking back then?
I think we all cut off our high tops. Was it before? Right after 9th grade.
Right after 9th grade.
Yeah. Yeah, really? We all had the fades after that. We cut them all off. 92, 93, chopped them off.
92, 93 fade. That's incredible, man. What do you miss most about New York, man? I know you left us high and dry. We got snow. We got, not the same.
I need to come up. I haven't been up there in 8 years, but I miss that charge, that energy.
Yeah.
For me, I need that right now. When I go up there and I come back down here, it's a whole nother vibe. So I miss that energy.
What's the biggest misconception living in Florida? People hear Florida like, Florida, I ain't going there. What do you tell somebody, thinking about moving to Florida? What would you tell them?
I tell them not to move here, but I don't think
it's not for everybody, right? It's not for everybody.
I've enjoyed the 20 years I've been here, but I've been very fortunate. Since I've moved to South Florida, it hasn't been a direct hit from a hurricane. But that is honestly one of the scariest things to deal with, knowing something's coming,
right?
And you can't get out. Because I know people see it on the news when people are trying to flee.
Yeah.
And they get stuck on 95. They run out of gas on it. It's only so many ways. South Florida is so narrow. If you're in Orlando, you have more opportunity to get out of Orlando, more ways to get out. But from down here, it's only 3 ways, possibly 3 to 4 ways you can get out. But I say for people to each his own, it's something for everybody down here. But for the heat, I can't deal with this 90 degrees anymore. I'm done.
Jeez, man. So talking about hurricanes, how many hurricanes have you survived, man, down there? And the most serious hurricane you ever been through out there?
The only direct hit that I've dealt with was in Orlando, which was Hurricane Charlie. That was a Category 3. And then the 2 or 3 most recent ones that pretty much missed, or they went, to the west coast of Florida, because we live near Fort Lauderdale on the East Coast. Just being that close, some of these places are 3 hours from me that got destroyed. And when you see that, people can rebuild, but it takes time. And insurance is just going to keep going higher with all these hurricanes.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Definitely crazy. Who was your prom date? You went to prom? Who was your prom date back in the day? 12th grade? Who'd you go to prom with?
I did not go to prom.
Really?
I went to Alberta's prom. I didn't go to Ramapo prom, no.
Oh, you went to the cool school, private school, Catholic school.
I got invited, so I went with a friend,
Oh, man. I'm sure it wasn't that hard for you to get dates, John. Everybody knew JT, man. I'm sure it wasn't that hard, man. Who's your favorite actor? Favorite actor of all time? Your Mount Rushmore. So sometimes it's kind of hard to pick specifically one.
Man, that's a good question. Favorite actor? Oh, that's tough, man. But, of course, Al Pacino.
Okay.
I'm still a little upset with Denzel for Gladiator. They could at least made him change, give him an accent or something. He sounded like he was in Training Day.
The movie made a lot of money, man. But really, I gotta watch that. I gotta watch Gladiator. I gotta watch it.
He still sound the same. Everybody else has a British accent. It's crazy.
Oh man, Denzel, nice, man, awesome. What about all-time favorite movie? Who's all-time favorite movie? Who you got?
Hmm. You know, Scarface is up. It's hard. I can't say all time like Juice and New Jack City
Boys in the Hood,
and
Scarface,
Heat
right?
and Friday. And yeah, it's hard for me. I ended up going to film school after, so I'm very deep into my films.
Really?
Yeah.
Awesome, man. What about Freddy or Jason? Those guys scare you back in the day? Growing up, Freddy or Jason? Who scared you the most?
The first Nightmare on Elm Street. I was 6 years old. I never forget. My father took us to the movies, to the movie theater that was behind the Nanuet Mall.
Yes, yes,
Remember
yes,
that?
yes, yes. I remember that. Yep, I remember that.
And I thought I was ready, but I was definitely hide behind the seats a little bit on Freddy. But well, I was like at least maybe I don't know 6 years old
Six
when
years
that came
old.
out. Yeah,
You were a parent, right? So they didn't care to say, well, you can't come in here. So, I mean,
yeah.
that's crazy. Favorite comedian of all time? Who do you got?
Ooh,
Some Red Fox, some Eddie Murphy, you
no,
know.
yeah, I'm gonna have to put Eddie. It's hard with Eddie Murphy and Richard Pryor, man,
Yeah, those two
because
might go.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
tough.
You got Red, you got Chris. I'm a big
But Dave Chappelle, man, like has
Chappelle's funny
changed
as hell,
all.
man. He's funny. He's funny.
Anything he touches is just
It's
hilarious.
gold. What about Chris Rock? Fan of Chris Rock?
Not as big as most people. His voice just after a while just gets to me.
Really?
And his
All
delivery,
right.
yes.
His
Yes.
delivery. He was on SNL the other day. Pretty funny. Watch it, man. It's like
Oh
a
no, I
seven,
saw
eight
it.
clip. You saw it. You saw it. Okay. All right. Big fan of Chris Rock, man. What about growing up, man? Who'd you look up to growing up? Is it parents? Any sports figures? I know you said Sean Kemp earlier, basketball guy. Who was your biggest inspiration growing
Well,
up?
there was some athletes in the area, man, that when I was younger watching them at Ramapo, like Michael Miles, Jeff Nichols,
Mm-hmm.
Spring Valley, Patrick John, like my brother Stephen McNeil, like killed it in football.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. So it's just watching a lot of those local guys. That was a huge inspiration.
What if the trajectory changed, John, and you were like maybe a DJ, one of these crazy DJs, popular DJs of all time? How would that pan out right now? Looking back, you're like, wow, never thought that.
I wish I would have stayed with it. I do. I DJ now. I have little, mixes I post here and there, and I get some
Really?
good feedback. But yeah, it would have to travel like these guys travel now. And I had a multimedia company where I had a DJ that I've known since I was 13 with me, and we got to do. We actually did Miami Heat after parties and all kind of stuff down in Miami. So we did boat parties and schools and doctors. It was just, yeah, we had a good time down here doing the whole DJ thing, but it does take a wear on you,
For
take a
sure, a
toll.
lot of traveling for sure. Caitlin Clark or Angel Reese?
Caitlin Clark.
That's my pick too. Big fan of hers. I saw her play in Iowa versus Rutgers. I was there for that game all through college. I was saying she was the female Steph Curry. The girl has done so much for the game and the WNBA. Why
Mhm.
is there so much pushback, John? Because we're paying to see something different. I don't think we've ever seen before in this game. Why is it so hard for certain players, people to just accept that fact?
It's tough that you've had so many black women that have been in this league doing this, and
For a
then
long time, right?
this
Yeah.
girl comes along, and she is almost like a Curry. So I
Yeah.
see why she gets it, and being a fan of basketball, I see. But for people that don't understand the game, I
Right.
can see why they're upset. But if people forget that she came in and they beat
Right.
her up, they beat her up when she came in,
I'm like, where's
and
the
she
foul?
and she stuck with it and she busted ass.
She picked
So
herself up. She stuck with it. You got to knock me down harder. Knock me down harder. Let's go.
yeah,
But my thing is, John, like, okay, she's the face of the league, John. So if she's gonna eat, we're all gonna eat, bro. Like, we're all gonna get endorsement deals. We're all gonna make more money. We're all gonna get the wages. We're all gonna get private jets. We're all gonna travel. The game is gonna grow. Now there's a 3-3 league coming up in January. That's
yeah,
exciting.
dope, dope.
So why are we like just can't just let it be? Give her flowers and praise. We can't forget the past. Obviously, the girls that paved the way for the league. Just be happy and roll with it, man. That's what I would. That's what I would say.
Have you been following Rutgers female basketball, women's basketball?
Not as much, but I did like what I saw with that game when I went there last year.
No, check out the freshman. Her name is Kiyomi McMillan.
I heard about her a little bit. She's a monster, right? And
Yeah.
I sure you watch Hannah Hidalgo. This girl is special,
Oh
John.
yeah, yeah. And there's two girls.
Jersey kid too.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a lot of talent. People be like, I don't watch girls basketball.
That's
Okay.
all. I watch more than that girls basketball and the men's basketball, John. Isn't that crazy?
You remember Allen Iverson's commercial, the Reebok commercial where he does the 360 spin and he throws the ball behind him?
If I seen him, I probably remember what it was.
All the basketball I played, I've never seen anyone do that move in a game.
And she did that move in Rutgers.
In a Division I game, she did it. And it looked perfect and she scored.
What happened to college basketball, John? Men's college basketball. There was the rivalries were there.
It's still there. It's still there. It's just so much information around right now with social media and YouTube. Yeah. But if you look, it's just like music. People would tell you hip hop is dead. But I'm glad that you mentioned the albums that Nas made in the past few years.
Album after album, it's there.
This year was one of the best years of hip hop music in years.
In years, yeah. For sure.
Consistently. And then Snoop and Dre just ended it with an unbelievable album.
I've listened to that album, not the whole thing, but I've got to go run it back. The album is phenomenal. I'm like, wait a minute. Is this Snoop from Gin and Juice? Because his energy's there, John.
He killed it. Snoop killed it.
I'm like, where did this come from? I wasn't expecting that. I was not expecting that at all. But better security guard, Ruben or Ed?
Ooh.
I know they both listening. They're both fans, man.
like
which one you got to wear the most?
No, like Nori says on Jink Tramps, I got to take a shot on that one.
You got to take a shot on that one. Shout out to Ru and Ed, man. Shout out to those guys, man. Love those guys, man. Love those guys.
Yeah, we had
man.
The best security ever, yo.
That's crazy, man. It's crazy. A country you like to visit at some point. You haven't been there yet, but will sooner rather than later.
Oh, Thailand. I'm trying to go see Bing.
Thailand. Who you going out with there? Family? You got friends?
I don't want to ruin it yet, so people just have to wait to see. I don't know. We gonna see.
All right. 2020. I'm gonna put that down. 2025?
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna have to
if all the UFOs don't take us out first.
Speaking of which, we mentioned this a little bit too. What do you make of these drones, John, in Jersey? What do you make of these drones? Copycat thing, government knows about them, not to worry about it at all, because it seems to kind of die down right now, right?
Yeah, I don't know yet. I'm waiting for that information to come out. I know we've seen a few things sitting in the sky down here, so.
Oh man, Thailand for sure. You know, I travel a lot and I go to I'm a Caribbean guy, man. Georgetown, Guyana. I grew up in Guyana, and I want to go back to St. Martin. My mom lived there for about 18 years, and I haven't gone back there since maybe 2007, 2008. So I definitely want to go back. Thailand for sure, my bucket list. For sure. I'm gonna write that down. I'm making my notes right here.
And I got a question for you.
Yeah, man.
So what's your favorite memory of Ramapo?
My favorite memory, man, like, it's all the people I met, man. People, man. Just teachers a little bit, but just the people. I think, like, from Pomona, 93, when I first came here to this country, like, I love basketball growing up, so basketball was my thing. Football, I had no idea what football was like. I had no idea. I was into cricket back in the Caribbean days. So his basketball days were really good, and Ramapo, the same exact thing. But those 2 years, I would say the people, man, and the friendships, John, because I am still friends with, like, I would say like 80%, 70, 80% of the people, you know, still on social media. I still talk to this day, communication to this day. I mean, Rocco and Dot, shout out to Dot, Sean Scott, still come to my car wash. You know what I mean? And we always reminisce. We always talk about the glory days, man. So for me, I would say the people 100%, man. Those relationships are a lifetime. I cherish those relationships. I would never change anything for the world, because my mom was like, you know, sending me to a foreign country. My dad was like, yeah, it's an opportunity. And I was just like, I'll just go. Never been to America. First time here, 1991, you know? And for me, it was all you guys for sure. Every single one of you guys. Yeah, on those teams, special teams. I tell people to this day, some of the best moments of my life, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, growing up, man. I looked up to you guys, John. I was a little kid. I was a little skinny, scrawny kid, 90 pounds, man. First time in America, didn't know anybody. And like we never had a conversation back then, man. I was like nervous to approach you and all these other guys, which I'm great friends with now, man, because I didn't know anybody. But you guys made it easy, man, because like sports was my thing that I only loved, man. Sports, my mom, of course, but sports was my love, man. So you guys, the memories you guys gave me to this day, like I can't, I would put that up against anything in the world, man. I really would. Honestly. Yeah, honest to God, man.
A lot of people take for granted. Like I've
Yeah.
lived in multiple states.
Yeah.
And the diversity that we had.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
'cause a lot of places you go is black and white.
Back
some Spanish.
in our day,
But-
John, it was black, Asian, Indian mix, every race background. We all care for each other, man. It was just amazing, man. It really, really was amazing. You remember anything of that blizzard 96? That blizzard? Anything you remember?
Oh yes, yeah, I remember.
I know you wasn't shoveling no damn snow, man. You wasn't out there with no shovel, man.
Listen what I woke up to. I slept over Omar's house that night, right?
It's always though. He gave you the nickname that day, and that's when it happened. That snow blizzard happened the next day.
I was at Omar's crib, and I woke up, and I come into the living room.
Right.
And I look at this dude. Omar's in the window. He lives on the second floor. And he jumps out the window. I'm like, yo! And I go outside, and there's so much snow. So I went and got dressed real quick, and I was right after him. Let's go. But I also remember us walking down 59. No one on 59. We're walking
Ghost Town.
And the police came up behind us, and we couldn't hear it because the wind is howling. And he turned his sirens on, man. It scared the shit out of us.
Unbelievable. That snowstorm, man. Now today, John, it snows for like a half inch, 2-hour delay. Back in the day, you pick your ass up. There was no delays back in the day. It was a delay, but you were going to school. Now these guys are soft, man. Yeah. These kids are soft, bro. They're soft, man. Give me your Super Bowl pick. Chiefs 3-peat. What say you?
Until the Chiefs lose, I'll pick the Chiefs.
All right.
Until they lose it.
I could, to me, the Chiefs, John, they're like the 14-1. They're like the best, worst 14-1 team in the history of football.
They find a way to win. But I do like Detroit. I picked Detroit was my sleeper last year. They're my sleeper again. Well, they're not a sleeper anymore. But Detroit, I really like what they're doing in Detroit.
Describe Pat Mahomes.
Ooh, cool, calm, and collective.
Okay.
Just gets the job done. Every time.
So you got the matchup. You got Chiefs versus Lions.
Chiefs, that would be dope. I would take that. Chiefs versus Lions.
So the Chiefs. All right. I got the Chiefs. I really don't want to see them in there.
Philly. I know you're gonna say Philly.
Of course, man. I gotta go with my Eagle green. You know I bleed green, John. I bleed green, man. I bleed green. Any shout outs back home? Anybody you want to give a special shout out to listening, or we might forgot to mention, or anything like that? Any shout out you want to give?
Shout out to the 96-97 Ramapo High School basketball team, sectional champs, regional champs. Shout out to all our coaches, shout out to all the fans that came through. Shout out to Leslie Glandsrock, the Griffin. Shout out to Emily Real Quiche, my man Ian Martin.
Ian Martin, he was on our ramp. He was a beast too, right? Griffin team.
Yeah, he played football with us. Yeah.
Emily Roque, she's a big Jet fan, right?
Yep.
She's always been a Jet fan, bro. Always been maybe I gotta get her on the show, right, John? I gotta try to reach out to Emily, get her on the show. Emily, and I gotta reach out to Bing, right? Reach out to Bing. I'm gonna make some notes. I gotta reach out to Emily and Bing, get them on the show.
And once we get this date for this Hall of Fame, hopefully we could get people together and throw the biggest party ever.
You
People
gotta
catch
you,
up.
you gotta give me, you gotta give me a month notice, John. A month or 2 or 3.
Oh no! As soon as I know, you're gonna know.
Yeah, you inbox me. My phone is always open for you. You know that.
Yes, sir.
Anytime. Um, it's I don't even know what to say, man. Um, thank you. I can't thank you enough for being on the show today. It really means a lot to me, bro. It really does,
Thank you
man.
for having me on, brother.
It really must. It really does mean a whole lot to me, man. You guys have no idea how you guys got me through, man. Through those Pomona and Rampo years.
Yes, sir.
I want to thank you, bro. I want to thank you. Um, they always say silence is bad for radio, right? They always say silence is bad for radio, but it was a good silence, man. It was good. It was a good silence there for a second there. Like it's funny, man, because people don't know how powerful sports is, man. Like, and we briefly spoke, right? The reunion, it was like, hey, what's up? How you doing? And I sent you that
Mhm.
picture, and it was like, I gotta send John this picture, man, because he probably don't remember. I'm like, I'm gonna send him it to him anyway. Whatever, send it to him.
Well, you may
And
not remember something. You interviewed me. I was in New York. I don't remember what year it was, but it was a podcast. We just didn't do video.
right,
So yeah, so I was on a phone call with you. And we had did an interview.
did I gotta go back because I used to do a podcast way back in the day. Um, you know, like 10 years ago, bro, and I start doing this again, video, and I got my passion again. I just fell in love with it again. Because when you love something, it never goes away. Football,
Mhm.
basketball, DJing, it never goes away, bro. So I just started doing the show again, maybe a month and a half ago. I took a 10-year hiatus. Imagine that. And so I did a show with you back then. Huh? Look at that. Look at that.
Yes,
What?
sir.
I gotta go back. It's on iTunes, John. So I gotta go back and pull that up. Because it's funny because looking at my text message and I'm like, wait a minute. I reached out to you way back in the day and I'm like, did I do a show or a podcast with John? I had no idea. Totally
Mhm.
forgot about it. I got to go back and pull that up. Wonder how bad that interview was back in the day. Um, I know you got to go. I know you got to do a birthday with Rich. Shout out to Rich Roberts, by the way. Tell him I give him a shout out. He was my neighbor, Rich Robs. Big fan of Rich Robs. Tell him what's up.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, thanks for walking us down memory lane, John. I mean, I'll never forget Griffin Panther years. 91, 96, man, just freaking magical, man, just magical. I want to say this. I want to say thank you for everything that you did, your hard work, sacrifices. You all made us fellow students real proud of you. I wanted you to know that, John, and for coming in here, taking the time out of your busy schedule. So am I, but we sat down, made it work, went back and forth, we made it work. I wanted you to know that coming from me, since I never got a chance to tell you back in the day, Pomona Panthers and Griffin years. I want to let you know how special that team was and how you guys were, man.
Thank you.
Really do, really, really do. Even though we never spoke, I always look up to you guys from afar, and I was always taking notes, man. Memories. I was always a big stat guy. You know what I mean? Maybe I should go to school
Mhm.
for broadcasting, man. But things happen. I mean, things happen, but it is what it is. But I got my passion back, my mojo back. So I'll be doing the podcast when I can, time permitting. But I wanted to let you guys know those memories, bro. They will. I know they're a distant memory. It has not been that long ago, but parents and no social media and no cell phones, no Facebook. We made it work, man.
Yes, sir.
We made it
Yeah.
work, man.
That's what made it special, though.
Yeah, for sure, man. I forgot to ask you too. How strict are you? You got a pair. Life is good now. You're working with kids, autism. Share some light on that real quick, John.
I work with a company called Jafco. Yes, I work with kids with autism
Hmm.
from the ages anywhere from 2, and they age out at 22. And I'm also taking some courses now to further, what I do with these kids, where I'm able to work with kids one on one to pretty much help them to live in a, on their own, in a social environment. So yeah, it's something I didn't know that I would like to do. I got into this a few years ago, and I love it.
You still coaching a little bit on the side, a little coaching, dabbling, a little coaching?
No,
Or?
I did the AAU coaching for a little while. I enjoyed it, but now I just want to watch my daughter in her senior year. She just committed to Huntington College in Montgomery, Alabama. So I just want to watch her senior year, which starts in a few weeks. So I just want to be able to watch her and enjoy. Like, I don't want to be sitting there yelling and screaming.
I'm gonna see a video surfacing on YouTube, John. Easy now, John. You know, how strict are you as a parent, though? You were very strict as a parent. Was your parents strict back in the day growing up?
My mom was more strict than my dad, but there's also like a respect thing. So they didn't really need to do much, you know, for us to make sure we did what we had to do. And with my kids, I'm a super cool dad, yo. Like, they know it's almost the same kind of relationship. And anybody that's known my father, you know, a lot of my friends didn't have fathers. So my father had a van and he would take us all to practice and take us to the mall, take us shopping in 125th Street. So it's just like, you know, my pops was super cool, but people knew not to disrespect him. So,
yeah, that was it.
Same kind of relationship, you know.
Awesome stuff, man. This has been fun, man. This has been fun. Long time coming, right?
Yeah, man. Definitely appreciate it.
Coming up on 26 after the hour on this December 29th. Shout out to my mom, by the way. Her birthday's today.
Yes, happy birthday, Queen.
72nd birthday. Thank you very much. I'll let her know. I'm Kenford. I'm just a radio guy. And JT, you know, it's unbelievable, man. What a ride, man. What a ride that was. Former Pomona Panther, Ramapo Griffin, coach, father, and soon to be inducted into the Rockland County Hall of Fame 96, 97. I can't wait, John. I don't know about you, man, but I can't wait, man. Get your popcorn ready, man.
I'm gonna try to get up there before that. And when I do, I'm gonna come see you. I'm gonna come get some food and we're gonna go to the car wash.
Yeah, whatever you want, man. I got dinner on me, whatever. You know where I'm working at. Let me know. I got you, whatever. I told Josh Hyman, by the way, too. He said,
actually, I need to come there with him.
He said he hung out with you back in the day. I'm like, wait a minute. Oh, you hung out with JT? John Thompson. He goes, yeah, me and John were cool. I was like, what?
Yeah.
I was like, I got to get John on the show. I got to get him on the show. That was it.
I had dinner with his family many times. Yeah, that's my dude right there.
Unbelievable, man. Well, John, thanks for joining us today. We'll appreciate it. You know, maybe we have you come back on, reminisce about the Hall of Fame and, you know, down memory lane once again when we wrap this thing up some point this year. We'll go from there. And absolute pleasure, John. Thanks for your time today.
Yes, sir. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you.
Anytime. He's John Thompson.
Happy New Year.
Oh, same to you. How did I forget that, John? How disrespectful can I be as a host?
Oh, good. It's a lot going on.
Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. All the best for 2025. Forgive me, John. Forgive me. My head's spinning.
No worries.
I mean, this is my notes. This is what I'm writing down. I'm writing down notes. Take you behind the scenes. Notes. Look at this. Notes. And I hated speech. I hated literature growing up. Look at me. 9 pages of notes, John, I had for the show. 9 pages of notes. I didn't post anything in 24 hours, John, because I was so nervous and anxiety for this podcast today. I'm sure people asked me, I didn't post anything about Eagles today all day because I was like, I can't sleep. I don't know if he's gonna come on. He's gonna make it. Let's do it. Make it happen. I didn't post anything, man.
I'm a man of my word. Yo. I told you I'll be here. I'm here.
You the man, John. Thanks, bro. Now I can post now. I can go back to posting now in the real world.
Let's go. Let's get it. Back to normal life.
Appreciate you, man.
All right, bro. Have a good one.
You as well. He's John Thompson. Got it.
Easy.